Welcome to Notebook Nuggets. Today, we're embarking on a deep dive into a little book with a monumental impact. James Allen's As a Man Thinketh.
That's right. Published way back in 1903. Can you believe it? But the wisdom just still holds up.
Totally. And we're here to kind of extract the core insights, those essential nuggets that show how your thoughts are really fundamentally shaping your world.
Yeah, the big idea.
You know that feeling when something just clicks? That's what we're aiming for as we explore Allen's big claim that a man is literally what he thinks.
And what that actually means for you day to day.
Exactly. We'll unpack his main analogy too. The mind is a garden. It's a really practical way to look at how cultivating the right thoughts can lead to a life with more, purpose, health, even peace.
Inner peace.
So yeah, settle in for maybe some aha moments as we trace this connection between your inner world and, what happens outside. All straight from Allen.
Okay, let's dive right in then. The foundational principle. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he.
Right. And he's not just being poetic there, is he?
No, not at all. He's saying this is like a comprehensive truth. It touches every part of your life, every condition, every circumstance you run into. It's huge.
Absolutely. And he states it so plainly. A man is literally what he thinks. Mm-hmm. That word literally is doing a lot of work there.
It really is. And he uses that great analogy, the plant coming from a seed. Your character, who you are, it's the total sum of all your thoughts.
Like an oak tree from an acorn.
Exactly. And what's really interesting is how he applies this even to stuff we do seemingly on impulse.
Oh yeah? Like what?
Well, he argues even those spontaneous actions, they have roots in hidden thoughts, patterns we might not even be aware of.
So nothing just happens out of the blue. There's always a thought seed somewhere.
That's his point. Maybe sown unconsciously, but it's there. Have you ever, reacted suddenly and then thought, wait, where did that come from? And traced it back?
Oh, definitely. Happens all the time.
Yeah.
And Allen connects this straight to joy and suffering, right?
Mm-hmm. He sees them as the natural results, the fruits of our thinking, like we're constantly harvesting what we've mentally planted.
He uses that image of the wheel following the ox.
Yeah, a bit stark, isn't it? Pain inevitably follows if you're harboring negative thoughts. It's pretty sobering.
It is. But the flip side is encouraging.
Right. He reassures us that persistent, pure thoughts will lead to joy, just as surely as your shadow follows you.
But it's not instant gratification.
No, definitely not. He stresses that a noble character isn't luck. It's earned. It comes from sustained effort in right thinking, that long-term habit.
It really highlights that our minds aren't just passive, are they? They're active, like gardens.
Exactly. Active cultivators. Consistent tending yields results. Good or bad.
So if you don't tend it well,
then, as Allen says, you get a less desirable character. From dwelling on base, negative thoughts. The responsibility is ours.
Which leads to that really empowering idea he has.
Yes, that you are the master of your thought, the molder of character, the maker and shaper of condition, environment, destiny, all of it.
He positions us as incredibly powerful beings, holding the key within our own minds. That's quite a statement.
It really is. And he acknowledges, sometimes we feel like fools mismanaging our inner world, especially in moments of weakness.
Yeah, that feels relatable.
But the key point is the capacity for mastery is always there. The moment we start reflecting, seeking the principles.
That's when we become the wise master, directing our thoughts consciously.
Exactly. And he's clear, this isn't just thinking about it. It requires practice, self-analysis, engaging with the world.
Like digging for gold within yourself. Finding those truths through effort.
Mm-hmm. That kind of deep personal work, observing your thoughts, controlling them, shifting them.
And then seeing the effects, right? On yourself, others, your circumstances.
Yes, that continuous loop, cause and effect. Patient, persistent practice leads to self-knowledge, which he says is understanding, wisdom, power.
And he gives that encouragement. He that seeketh, findeth.
And to him that knocketh, it shall be opened. The effort you put into understanding your mind pays off. It's an active search.
Okay, so building on that core idea, let's talk about that mind as a garden analogy. Can you flesh that out a bit?
Sure. So Allen says your mind is like a garden. And whether you cultivate it or neglect it, it will produce something.
It won't just stay empty.
Right. And if you don't deliberately plant useful seeds, positive, constructive thoughts, then weeds, which are the useless, impure thoughts.
They just take over naturally?
They proliferate. They reproduce relentlessly, choking out the good stuff. Does that kind of resonate with your own mental experience?
Oh, absolutely. If you leave a real garden alone, the weeds are always the fastest growers. So same principle in the mind.
Exactly. So the call to action is become the deliberate gardener of your mind.
Actively weeding out the bad thoughts.
Yeah, the wrong, useless, impure ones, and then consciously cultivating the flowers and fruits, the right, useful, pure thoughts. It's ongoing. mental housekeeping.
The constant process.
And the reward is realizing you are the master gardener of your soul, the director of your life.
That's a huge shift. From feeling tossed around by things to recognizing your own power, taking ownership.
Definitely. Now let's link this garden idea to our actual circumstances. Alan says outer conditions always harmonize with our inner state.
Always. That sounds pretty absolute.
Well, he doesn't mean your situation is a perfect reflection of your entire character right now, but it's deeply connected to some vital thought element inside you.
Okay, so there's a connection, maybe not a one-to-one mapping of everything.
Right. And he emphasizes every man is where he is by the law of his being. The thoughts you've built into your character have brought you here.
No pure luck involved, in his view.
None. He sees no element of chance. It's all driven by the thoughts you've consistently held.
Wow. That's a strong stance. What about people who are really unhappy with where they are?
He actually says even that dissatisfaction serves a purpose. It shows we're evolving, and we're exactly where we need to be to learn something.
A lesson embedded in the circumstance.
Yes. And once we learn that spiritual lesson, the circumstance changes. It gives way to something new. What do you think about dissatisfaction being a catalyst like that?
It's definitely a more empowering way to look at it, instead of being just a creature of outside conditions, as he says.
Right. You realize your own creative power. You can work on the hidden soil and seeds inside you where circumstances actually grow from.
And he says personal experience backs this up.
He does. He suggests anyone who practices self-control and self-purification for a while will notice a direct link. Change the mental state and the outer circumstances shift proportionally.
Have you seen that play out?
I think many people have, if they reflect honestly. It's like our inner world attracts what we secretly hold on to, what we love, even what we fear.
And our dominant desires eventually show up externally.
He gives some stark examples, too, like someone ending up destitute isn't just bad luck, it's the result of long-term groveling thoughts.
And conversely, a pure-minded person wouldn't suddenly turn to crime just because of outside pressure.
Not solely because of it, no. The seeds for that would have to have been cultivated internally first, maybe secretly. It's about inner responsibility.
So circumstance reveals it doesn't create the person. It's like a mirror.
Exactly. A mirror showing our inner nature. He insists you can't separate bad outcomes from bad inclinations or good outcomes from virtuous aspirations.
Which brings it back to being the master of your thoughts.
Yes. The architect of your being, the shaper of your environment. Your life attracts conditions that reflect your inner state, purity or impurity, strength or weakness. It's a mirror.
And that critical point he makes. We attract what we are, not just what we superficially want.
Right. Our fleeting wishes might fail, but our deepest ingrained thoughts and desires, those tend to manifest whether we're fully conscious of them or not.
Have you noticed that gap between what people say they want and what actually happens in their lives?
It's a really profound observation. He quotes that line, "The divinity that shapes our ends is in ourselves. Our inner world designs our experience."
Only himself manacles man. Our thoughts can be our jailers or liberators.
Precisely. So, given all that power we supposedly have internally, what does Alan say about dealing with tough circumstances? It can sound a bit like blaming the victim sometimes, can't it?
That's a fair concern. But Alan's angle is that just fighting the external situation is useless if you don't address the root cause inside.
And that root cause is?
Negative thoughts, conscious bad habits, or even unconscious weaknesses. Tackle the source, not just the symptom. What do you think about that focus on internal change?
It makes sense. He points out that often people really want things to get better externally, but they resist doing the inner work needed for real change.
And that resistance keeps them stuck.
Exactly. He gives those examples. The poor person dodging work but blaming wages. The rich, sick person wanting health but not changing habits. The dishonest employer blaming the economy for bankruptcy.
In every case, Alan says they're, maybe unknowingly, the main cause of their own problems. Clinging to thoughts and habits that block what they want.
It's a tough message, but ultimately about self-accountability, isn't it?
Yeah, and he warns against judging someone's whole inner state just by looking at their outside situation.
Right. He knows thought is complex and happiness varies. Someone might be honest but still face challenges for other reasons. Someone might seem to prosper dishonestly but be miserable inside.
So, no simplistic judgments like he failed because he was honest or she succeeded because she was dishonest. It's more complex than that.
Much more. He says it can feed our ego to think we suffer because we're virtuous, but real understanding comes after we've genuinely cleaned up our own negative thinking.
Only then can we see the real causes.
Yes. And even before reaching perfect purity, he thinks we'll start seeing that law of cause and effect working clearly in our lives.
Which leads us right into that law of cause and effect in the mental world. He treats it like a physical law, doesn't he?
Absolutely. Firmly. Good thoughts and actions never lead to bad results, ultimately. Bad thoughts and actions never lead to good results, period.
Like planting corn only gives you corn, nettles only give nettles.
Exactly. It's an inherent consequence. He finds it odd that we accept this in nature but struggle with it mentally and morally.
Which is why we don't always align ourselves with it consciously.
That seems to be his reasoning. And for Alan, suffering itself is it's the direct effect of wrong thought somewhere. It's a signal of disharmony.
A misalignment with ourselves and the laws of our being.
Mm-hmm. But he doesn't see suffering as just punishment, does he?
No, he talks about its purpose.
Exactly. Its purpose is purification, burning away the useless and impure stuff within us. Once you're pure, suffering ceases because there's nothing left to burn off.
That's a transformative way to see it.
It is. And it leads him to redefine success and failure.
Right. It's not about money.
No. True blessedness, that deep inner joy, not material wealth, is the measure of right thought. And wretchedness, deep unhappiness, not lack of stuff, is the measure of wrong thought. It really shifts the focus.
So you could be rich but still internally cursed, or poor but blessed.
Precisely. Blessedness and riches only align if the riches are used rightly and wisely. Poverty only becomes wretchedness if you see it as unfair and become resentful.
So the goal is that harmony. Happy, healthy, prosperous being.
Yes. Which he sees as the natural result of adjusting our inner self to align with our outer circumstances harmoniously.
And getting there means taking responsibility.
Absolutely. You start really gaining power when you stop complaining about circumstances and start looking for the underlying justice. Adapt your mind to that regulating force.
Stop blaming others. Build yourself up with noble thoughts. Use challenges as aids.
Exactly. Recognize the universe operates by law and justice. Our job is to align with it, not fight it.
Focus on getting ourselves right internally.
And you'll find the universe is right. As you shift your thoughts positively towards things and people, they shift positively towards you.
He says anyone can test this through self-analysis.
Mm-hmm. And the results of making that shift can be, well, pretty dramatic. He talks about amazing changes in material conditions from radically changing thoughts.
He uses that vivid imagery thoughts crystallizing into habits, habits solidifying into circumstances.
Yeah. He gives examples of negative thoughts leading to addiction, disease, failure.
Like base thoughts leading to indulgence, then destitution and illness. Very direct cause and effect.
Exactly. And the flip side. Beautiful thoughts cultivate grace and kindness, leading to genial circumstances. Pure thoughts foster self-control and peace. Courageous thoughts lead to success and freedom.
It's that powerful idea. Our dominant thoughts shape our character and our life experiences.
Mm-hmm. And while we can't always directly choose circumstances,
We can always choose our thoughts.
right. And through that, we indirectly shape the circumstances. Nature even helps, he says, bringing opportunities that match the thoughts we encourage most.
Like the world is a kaleidoscope reflecting our inner patterns.
Yeah. So you will be what you will to be. That powerful line sums it up.
He dismisses excuses like a poor environment, doesn't he? Says the spirit scorns those. True mastery is conquering oneself.
Exactly. Conquering the internal obstacles.
Okay, let's shift to thought and health. He makes a really strong connection there.
Extremely strong. The body is the servant of the mind. It obeys our thoughts, whether chosen deliberately or just running automatically.
And negative thoughts literally cause disease.
That's his claim. Unlawful thoughts lead to disease and decay. Glad, beautiful thoughts promote youthfulness and beauty.
He says disease and health are rooted in thought. Fear can be as deadly as a bullet. Anxiety weakens the body.
Mm-hmm. And impure thoughts damage the nervous system, even without physical indulgence.
But strong, pure, happy thoughts build vigor and grace.
Yes. The body responds faithfully to the thoughts impressed on it. It reflects our mental state.
So health isn't just about physical habits for Alan.
No. Impurity in the body persists as long as you have unclean thoughts. Clean life, clean body comes from a clean mind. Defiled mind, defiled life, corrupt body.
Changing your diet isn't enough if the thoughts don't change.
Exactly. Purify the thoughts first. Clean thoughts lead to clean habits.
Guard your mind to protect your body. Beautify your mind to renew your body. It's an inside-out job.
Totally. He also points out how negative emotions, malice, envy, disappointment rob the body of health and grace. Even a sour face comes from sour thoughts.
He uses that lovely analogy, a house needs air and sunshine.
Just like a strong body and serene face need joy, goodwill, and tranquil thoughts. It paints a clear picture.
And serenity. Calm they come from consciously letting in those positive states.
Right. Cheerful thought is the best doctor, goodwill the best comforter. Dwelling in negativity is self-imprisonment. Thinking well of all leads to inner heaven.
Okay, now let's talk purpose. Alan sees that as absolutely vital.
Fundamental. Without purpose, thoughts drift aimlessly, no intelligent accomplishment. He calls aimlessness a vice we need to overcome.
And lack of purpose makes you vulnerable.
Yes, to petty worries, fears, self-pity, indicators of inner weakness that block progress and happiness.
So his advice is, get a purpose.
Conceive a legitimate purpose. Make it your focus. Whether it's spiritual or worldly, center your thoughts on it.
Like an anchor for your mental energy.
Exactly. And focus steadily. Make it your supreme duty. Guard against wandering thoughts. This, he says, is the path to self-control and concentration.
Even if you fail sometimes.
Even then, the strength of character gained through striving is true success. It's a new, stronger starting point.
But if you don't have a big purpose figured out yet?
Good question. He advises focusing on your current duties, however small. Perform them thoughtfully. This builds focus and energy for when a bigger purpose does emerge.
So it's about believing in the power of effort itself.
Yes, that belief leads to continuous development, eventual strength.
Thinking with purpose means joining the ranks of the strong, those who see failure as just part of the path.
Exactly. They learn to make all conditions serve their aim. They act fearlessly, achieve with mastery born from focus.
Which leads right into the thought factor in achievement. He's very clear. Thought is the key.
Absolutely decisive. All achievement, all failure comes directly from our own thoughts.
Individual responsibility is absolute in his ordered universe.
Our weaknesses, our strengths, our virtues, our flaws, they're our own making through thought.
And others can only help so much.
Right. A strong person can guide, but only if the other person is willing. The weak must develop their own strength.
He even frames the oppressor and oppressed dynamic interestingly.
As cooperators in ignorance, both hurting themselves. True freedom comes from conquering internal weakness and selfishness, not just changing external roles.
Progress means lifting thoughts above base desires.
Yes. Even worldly success requires sacrificing confused thoughts for focused plans and self-reliance.
The higher the thoughts, the more upright and successful you become.
He firmly believes the universe favors the honest, the magnanimous, the virtuous, not the greedy or dishonest ultimately.
And different achievements stem from different kinds of thought.
Clearly. Intellectual success from thought focused on knowledge, spiritual success from holy aspirations.
But all achievement is the crown of effort.
Yes. Aided by self-control, resolution, purity, righteousness, well-directed thought. But he adds a caution. Victories won through right thought need constant watchfulness to maintain.
Okay, lastly, let's touch on visions and ideals. He seems very hopeful about these.
Very. He calls dreamers the saviors of the world. Ideals nourish humanity. He urges us, cherish your visions, cherish your ideals.
Because they will shape your reality.
That's his conviction. To desire is to obtain. To aspire is to achieve. Your vision is the promise of what you will be. Your ideal, the prophecy of what you'll unveil.
Great achievements start as dreams.
Always. And he reassures us, even in bad circumstances, if you hold on to an ideal and strive for it, the circumstances will change. Inner movement creates outer change.
He gives that example of the youth overcoming poverty through his ideal.
Inspiring, isn't it? It reinforces that core idea. We gravitate towards our secret love. We get the results of our dominant thoughts. Our environment mirrors our inner world.
You become as small as your controlling desire or as great as your dominant aspiration.
Beautifully put. And he challenges that idea of luck again. Says the thoughtless, ignorant, indolent blame luck, ignoring the effort and sacrifice involved in real success.
Gifts aren't luck, they're fruits of effort.
Exactly. Real gifts, talents, possessions, they come from dedicated work, not chance.
And he wraps everything up with serenity.
Yes, one of the beautiful jewels of wisdom. Hard-earned through long self-control, understanding ourselves and others as thought-evolved beings.
A calm person understands cause and effect, so they stop worrying.
Right. They stay poised. Their self-governance helps them adapt to others who respect that spiritual strength.
And more tranquility leads to more success, influence, power for good.
Even people with bad intentions do better if they have self-control and equanimity.
He paints the calm person as this revered figure, like a shelter.
Yeah. Serenity is the last lesson of culture, the fruitage of the soul, worth more than gold.
A big contrast to just chasing money.
Huge. He sees a serene life grounded in truth as far richer. He notes how many ruin their lives lacking self-control, driven by passion.
Only the wise, with controlled, purified thoughts, command their inner storms.
Exactly. And he ends with such hope for those tempest-tossed souls, assuring them peace is possible, their ideal awaits.
Urging them to grab the helm of thought.
Yes. Awaken the commanding master within. Find strength in self-control, mastery in right thought, power in calmness. His final words.
Say unto your heart, peace, be still. Just beautiful.
Really profound.
So as you reflect on these insights from James Allen, consider his powerful invitation. Become the conscious master of your own thoughts.
What seeds are you planting in your mind garden today?
Yeah, what visions are you cherishing that will shape tomorrow? This deep dive offers a starting point, some principles to explore and, apply in your own life.
We really encourage you to revisit these ideas, maybe even grab Alan's book yourself. It's short but powerful.
Definitely. Delve deeper into this whole power of thought thing. Thank you for joining us on this journey of discovery here at Notebook Nuggets.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
And hey, if you found this useful, please give it a like, maybe share it with someone who can use it, and drop a comment. What was your biggest takeaway?
We'd love to hear.
And of course, if you want more deep dives like this, hit subscribe.